Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Ms. Mugzzi one-of-a-kind psychic medium program on Blog Talk Radio. Call in now and get your free reading. Lines fill up fast, so call right now. 646-649-0866. That's 646-649-0866.
Mugzzi show. I have one of my favorite guests, George Kavassilas. He'll have to help me with that. On the show, I have 5 pages of questions that we're going to be talking to him about, and we also have questions that I got from my Facebook friends as well. So we're going to be talking about some really good issues that we as a society need to know, where we're going, what we're up against, and George has great insight. So I'd like to introduce George Kavassilas.
Hey,
welcome,
Mugzzi,
George.
how are you? Oh,
Good.
Thank you.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
3-time variations there, but they were all really, really synchronistic. No, that was just fine.
I got close.
Yeah, no, it was good. It reminded me of my high school days with the teachers trying to pronounce my name.
I wanted to make sure I hit them all. Before we get into the heavy stuff, and people are still signing into the show, I wanted to talk about something a little bit lighter. When we do this work, I know that we come across as very serious, very professional, sometimes super driven, and people misrepresent us thinking that we're hardcore or something, and they don't get to see the funny side of us or how we enjoy life. So what I wanted to do is just take a minute and share with people the lighter side of George, because you have a great sense of humor, and I'd really like to introduce that side of George to the show. So would it be okay to talk about, first of all, the 5D man? I'm really big into this. Where did you make your transition from the 3D ideologies to the 5D-ologies? And then also you just got married. Something special happened with that. So I was wondering if you could share those things with us first.
Oh, okay, wow, all right. As far as the transition goes from the 3D man to the 5D man, I always had elements of the 5D me present in my incarnational state, and it always fluctuated throughout my life. I feel that many people will relate to this. And I'll give you an example. When I was sitting in the car and my father was upset, I could feel all his anger, all his rage. I knew what he was thinking, and that was a horrendous experience for me because of the energy that was just pouring through my body and my being. In conversations with families and friends, and walking through a shopping centre, being bombarded with all those energies all at the same time, and then having incredible experiences with the world of nature around me. So there were times when I was in that real high-level 5D space and being able to really connect with life around me. And so it was there at times, and other times it wasn't there. So I had to go back to that 3D mode and be more mechanical and more physical, in a sense. But over the last 10 years, there's been a real major transition happening. And it has gotten to the point where I feel far more centered. I feel there's more of me here, present, in this body at this time. It still fluctuates, but not as much as before. And so the feelings and the awareness that I have of life around me, it's like now I understand the thought processes people are having. I still feel those feelings that they have if they're angry or whatever, but they don't get inside of me and affect me like they used to. So it's a different state. It's a different way of looking at it.
But were you ever the type of man that cheated on a woman or told lies or did deceitful things like we see so many men that do that today?
I never cheated on a woman, even though I had the desire to do it in really, really bad relationships, but I never actually did it. So I'm half as bad, if you know what I mean, because even having that want to do that is still, in my books, is still the same. The intention is there, but I never actually went ahead with it. It was kind of like, it was fleeting moments of having those feelings of desiring or yearning is a better word, yearning for the caress of someone who actually loves you rather than somebody who wants to continue to put you down and be emotionally hurtful towards you. So I did have those inklings or those yearnings, just here and there. They weren't always there. It was fleeting moments. So as a man, I have had that in my life. But I mean, I'm sure many people who have been in very difficult relationships would have gone through that process as well. I actually don't think there's anybody who has not been in a difficult relationship would have not have thought that at some stage in their relationship or had that yearning at some stage. So, yeah, keeping it real and being totally honest, absolutely. Have I lied? Yes, of course. I've told lies in my life. But in the last few years, I really can't do that. It hurts. It hurts me if I do that severely. So it's something that you transition out of. In, these lower vibratory states, you really transition out of that. It goes against your grain. What about money?
Did you ever find yourself where you were controlled or, motivated by money, and then one day you go, wait a minute, I'm not into this anymore.
Yeah.
This isn't what's important.
Yes, I did. I actually, for 6 months, worked as a real estate agent and was doing an open home, and it was on a weekend, and all my friends were enjoying themselves, having a good time, and it kind of like just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I thought, what am I doing here? And what is this all about? I'm trying to sell homes, and what is selling homes? Why do we do that? And it's just the whole point of the matrix and the superficiality and the workings of it, of this working for money, and the whole slavery part of it, being a slave to the system in that moment, that weekend or that day in that moment, hit me really hard, and I struggled a great deal after that. But I'm far more at peace. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. When you started to pull out of the matrix and you started changing your ideologies to a bigger scope, to the 5D person, did you find people around you criticized you, put you down, or gave you a hard time?
Oh, all of the above. I know so many people listening have experienced that, and that has been one of the most, if not the most difficult part of the journey that we are all experiencing. So as our vibration increases, we are leaving friends and family behind, and it's a very, very painful journey. It actually gets a little bit easier the more you go down this path, but in the beginning, just letting go of those relationships, because we don't realise how much other people have their tentacles into us and the energetic connections we have with people until it comes time to letting go of those relationships. And you actually realise just how many people also feed off us. So there's many things that happen simultaneously when you start to awaken, because on one side you feel very sad that you're losing friends that you've had for such a long time. On another level, you begin to see how that relationship was structured, and you realise that some of the people that you thought were friends were actually just feeding off you energetically, and are friends of convenience for that matter. And then, and that's not lessening the experience of all those relationships. Don't get me wrong, because every relationship that we've had, every interaction that we've had is gold. You know what I mean? It's there to teach us and to learn from, and we teach others from. So I don't want to lessen any experience that we've had.
Have you experienced where people that pulled away from you and said you were crazy, now all of a sudden they're showing up and going, okay, now teach me. What do you know?
There are
like
some.
It's in a full circle.
Yeah, some are beginning. I can feel that in them, although some haven't come out and verbally said that. There's been the odd person in my journey that has said to me, you know, while the others think that you're crazy, I don't. I see something in you that I feel is on the mark. Even when I served a really hard apprenticeship in the front bar of what we call pub here, you call it a bar, I think, in the US, of a country pub, and told everybody that I was being taken by aliens. So you can imagine what that conjured up. And so it was many years of going in there on a weekly basis and just telling everybody what's going on in the world with the reptilians and that I'm getting taken by aliens and all that sort of stuff. So I'd walk in there and you'd hear someone yell out, "Oh, here's delusional George," you know, and I copped it really thick and hard. But it was a good apprenticeship, and I wouldn't be the man I am today without that experience.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you just got married. Tell about your vows, because I think that just speaks so highly of your character and what you did for your new bride. I love the story.
Oh, yeah. The way we came together was amazing as well. I actually went celibate for about 6 years because I knew she was coming into my life. And actually the morning before we met, an opening from Avalon happened and beings came out and surrounded me and explained to me certain things and to remember a certain energy and frequency of love because of what was about to happen in my life. And then when I met Cynthia, she had that vibration from Avalon, and it freaked me out. And it was a very, very incredible moment. So Cynthia left New Zealand to follow her heart because she knew her twin flame was somewhere here in Adelaide. And that was a very courageous thing to do because she had to leave family and friends behind to do that. So, you know, when one follows one's heart, it can be very challenging and it takes a lot of courage, but it always pays off. So there's a little tidbit for people. And when we had our wedding ceremony, I actually knelt down on a cushion before Cynthia and said, as a representative of male energies in this reality, I apologise to the feminine for the side of the masculine that is violent and controlling and dominating and all these other attributes, negative attributes of the male energy. And I take responsibility for that, and I apologise for that, and I ask for forgiveness and ask to be able to come home.
That is such a beautiful story. And she let you? Just kidding.
Yeah, she forgave me. Yeah, it was. I was bawling my eyes out when I was trying to get the words out too. It was because I really felt it. It wasn't an intellectual concept. Had it going right through my whole body, and I was bawling my eyes out. And Cynthia, tears rolling down her cheeks, and everybody who was at the ceremony was just stunned because prior to that, everyone was taking photos, and during that moment, there's not that many photos that got taken because they just didn't expect it because we didn't tell people we were going to do that. And there was a lot of other people there that had tears down their cheeks as well.
Aww. That brings me to a quick question. You said the word twin flames, and I'm hearing a lot of this, that now that the veil's lifted, that we're finding our twin flames. Do we have one, or do we have 10, 20, or is there one?
No, we only have one. That's my, maybe, okay, I'm talking from the way my being is structured and my life is structured. And my understandings, I don't feel that we may have soul group members, which is a different thing. You know, they're like brothers and sisters. It's a different type of energy. But if you haven't experienced the higher energies of love, then you will think that that's your twin flame when you meet that person. It'll just because the love is so overwhelming, and that's just soul group members. So twin flame is a whole new level again. It is, there's no fancy, overwhelming energy. You don't get totally besotted by your twin flame. There's just this deep, peaceful knowing. It's like when Cynthia and I came together, there was absolutely no getting to know one another. We already knew one another completely. It was very different from everything I've experienced before. And so it's very graceful, it's very deep, and you just have a knowing, and you get on with one another. There's no pretentious feelings. There's no doubts. There's just harmony. And all we had to do was get reacquainted because we already knew one another.
And I think, too, that there's a safeness. You just know that you don't have to have your guard up. You don't have to be psychic. You don't have to try to figure out, is he going to cheat on me? When is he going to call me? There's just a security sense that you get, too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally agree with you. Yep.
And there is no reason for jealousy because you know that that person's going to be wanting to be with you because he recognizes you too. So you don't have to manipulate. You don't have to have jealousy.
No jealousy whatsoever. There's just full trust, full knowing, and that's it. And it just is. There's a difference about it. There's no hoo-ha. There's no, some people that just, because I've met people before and I just lost the plot. And I thought these people were, this particular woman was a twin flame of mine, and I came to realise that she wasn't. And so it's interesting how if you get totally besotted and overwhelmed and you lose the plot, then it's not twin flame energy, it's something else. And the twin flame energy is far more graceful and deep and peaceful.
There's a sense of acceptance. You don't have to worry about necessarily what your hair looks like or your makeup looks like or, I'm a size 6 or, there's an acceptance, right?
There is total acceptance. Yeah, warts and all, farts and all, the whole lot.
Yeah, I told you guys he had a sense of humor. At least I get to hear you laugh. Okay, I wanted to address that because I know a lot of my callers are, dating men that cheat on them and stuff, and I keep telling them about the 5D man because it's so important to look for a 5D man and then your twin flame. So, but you got to fix your picker. You got to be picking the right guy. Okay,
yeah,
George.
But when you talk about being in the 5D man state of being, you lose all of your desires. You lose the energy, what we call desire, because the energy of desire is a lower vibratory state. And so you're not led by your desires and you're not led by your emotions. Okay, you work from feelings because an emotion, that's emotion, energy in motion. And what an emotion is feelings that are spiraled out of control. So you're no longer operating from that state of being. You are in a centered state. It's different.
Okay, you ready to get into some serious meat?
Oh, okay, hang on. Just let me grab my boxing gloves out of my pocket. Here we go.
You got to get pennies out of your pocket?
Hang on. Mouth guard, headset. All right.
You ready?
All right, I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, because I got some really good questions. Number one, tell me again the Galactic Federation of Light, because I see posts on this and people are saying, Yahoo, they're coming. Can you please explain for me the Galactic Federation of the Light?
Okay. And for those who are not aware, I did a video in 2004 and stood up and said that I was a member of the Galactic Federation of Light. And did that because I was basically manipulated by them and I was assimilated into their structure and their empire and their paradigm and their version of reality. So I want to make that clear. And I have gone through the shame and the humility of knowing I have been deceived and having to publicly admit that. Now, I had that experience for a reason, and the Galactic Federation is a group of beings who are operating within a limited paradigm and the version of light and the version of love that they use and they operate with is from within that limited paradigm. It is not universal unconditional love. It is not love in an organic sense. It's an inorganic light structure. It's synthetic light, and it is what I refer to, the label I like to use is conditional love. It's a different kind of love. Now, if you haven't experienced much love in your life, then that will be like a baby to candy. And it's very important to understand that there is more. The unconditional love I speak for is so much grander, so much deeper than what any of these beings have to offer. And it's quite a vast empire with many thousands of extraterrestrial races that have been assimilated into this empire.
And would this include the Annunaki?
The imposter Annunaki, yes. Not the original Annunaki, no.
Who's the original Annunaki?
The original Annunaki are the beings who are part of the management crew of the universe, who are also known as the Shining Ones, as the Tuatha De Danann of Ireland, as the true apostles, both Jesus' 12 apostles and, by the way, Mary Magdalene's 12 apostles, which you don't hear about. There's a little big one there for you, and a little big one. Yeah, there you go, a contradiction there. And it's...
See, he did it again.
Yeah, I know. And it's understanding that the beings who are, there's so much energy flowing through me in this moment. I apologise for the stuttering. These beings are, there's primarily 12 beings, and they are the personality archetypes, the embodiments of the personality archetypes of the Creator, and they correlate with our 12 DNA strands and the 12 planets in our solar system. So it's understanding fractals and understanding the resonant patterns. And these beings have played a major role in the creation of life in our galaxy and in our universe, and especially on planet Earth.
Okay, can I skip for just a minute? I've had 3 visions today. I posted one on Facebook, and people were saying, ask George. So I want to get your response. Number one, it wasn't a vision. I could actually see 2 guys talking over me, and they were saying that whistleblowers didn't have that much more time left. And I don't know what that means. I don't know, is that meaning that we're going to be shut down, or that somebody's going to intercept and there's not going to be a need?
Well, that is part of the equation. I also feel that because the show, the big show in the public arena is about to begin, it's not too far away. And so therefore, once that show begins, whistleblowing won't have the effect. It won't be necessary. It'll be more like hang on for the ride.
Okay, then the other thing, I had a very clear vision, and sometimes I'm accurate, sometimes I'm not. I'm sure they can post in the chat room. Here's my vision. I actually saw where some of these Luciferians were in handcuffs and chains, shackles, so to speak, and being escorted onto a ship, and they were going to be removed from Earth. And we were told that they were going to go to a lower dimension and not to return. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
Okay, if that plays out, that is still part of the drama. The beings who would be doing that, who would be taking them away, would be part of the drama. They would be of the false light, appearing as though they are the good guys helping us out.
Oh, because last week I had a vision of like a red carpet event, and in this I'm seeing a red carpet too, where they're walking on it to get rid of the people, the cabal, and that they would be tried justice, and then they were going to remove them. So you think that these aren't they supposed to be Nordics? that they're going to remove them and try to proclaim that they're helping us?
Yeah, there are. There's many races, but the ones who I know are really sort of at the top of this structure are the Orion Nordics. And there's a lot of beautiful Nordics out there, like benevolent Nordics. But this is just one particular group of Nordics because they went around and they were all once reptilian and they just got the best genetics that there is in the universe and have integrated themselves into these physical structures. So they've created some really incredible embodiments that are very angelic looking, and I've come across them personally, and they smother you with this love. And people will just perceive them as angelic beings or beings of incredible wisdom and very highly spiritually involved beings, and they're not. They're actually very deceitful beings and really know how to go about it. Like we're talking about the best this universe has to offer. So they're experts in their craft. So, the only way to get around that is to go within yourself and your greater being and your connection to life. You will see who they are, and there won't be any problem once you do that, honestly. I mean, you will see it, and it will become obvious to you because you will feel their energy. You will know. It's honestly, it's like if you look back on your life now and you see where you've come from a few years ago, how you were looking at the governments and the systems and where you are now, you can really see the game for what it is. So imagine when you get to a point where you can see the galactic game for what it is as well. So don't fear. You can, if you don't see it yet, you'll see it very soon.
Well, I was also told, too, that their eyes are going to be, they're blue, but they're bigger, they're out of proportion because they use some of the Gray's genetics. And another telltale sign is that their fingers are going to be longer than normal fingers. And those were two signs that you could kind of distinguish between these fake Nordics.
Yeah, and they're just physical signs, but the one that you will go by the most is your feelings, what you feel like in their presence.
Okay.
So
well, I think that, if we have a little red flag and we go, oh, these guys got big blue eyes, then they'll remember the show and then they'll go within and check their radar to see, okay, what's their energy like?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, both
okay,
are
here's
very
the
important.
other one. Oh, sorry. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I've got 5 pages of notes. BP, the volcano, supposed oil spill was actually a tar to cover that area. I was seeing that Atlantis is out in that area and it's starting to raise. They know this. They don't want us to find it, so that's why they covered it. That's one. 2 is that there is an Andromedan spaceship or shuttle or a base down there, and they actually have pictures of spaceships flying in the ocean, taking a dive and going down there. So they're trying to cover up this space station. And 3, all of a sudden, this new microorganism eats steel, and they purposely designed this, but bioengineered it so that these bugs would eat the steel off their spaceships.
Okay, is this a vision that you had?
Yeah.
Okay, my feeling is about the oil spill is that if you want to dismantle a building and you want to bring it down, then a demolition expert knows what bricks or what pillars to take down to bring the whole thing down. If you want to take down the ecosystem of the planet, then you've got to know where to do it. And by affecting that underwater stream off the Gulf there, that flows up to the Northern Atlantic, that is how you take down the ecosystem on the planet. So I feel it's got more to do with affecting the ecosystem rather than a base. Now, there are bases under the ocean. Oceans are full of life on many different vibratory levels. I have no doubt about that. But for me, the primary or the main reason why the Gulf spill occurred was to affect the ecosystem on the planet by lower elements of the dark agenda who are hell-bent on destroying humanity and this planet. And they won't succeed, of course.
Okay, the other thing, that's a good answer, but I think it's all inclusive because they've been planning this for over 5 years. I mean, there's documents, there's signatures and stuff. So I think there's more than one purpose to what they're doing. Okay,
yeah, there's never just one reason. Like I said, I think it's the main one, but there'll be a lot of offshoot reasons as well. There's never just one reason.
Okay, we're seeing a lot of videos of holograms. There's helicopters, airplanes, even a fake sunset. And this is part of the Blue Beam stage hoax that they're going to do. What do you know about the holograms and their technology in this area?
I can tell you that the spiral over Norway was a Blue Beam project, definitely. And it was interesting that there was a whole lot of leaders that were in that vicinity at the time, and it was a show that was put on for them. And they're going to attempt. They have so many different levels of technology, and they have Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, Plan D, and that is just one of the plans that they wish to implement. I don't feel that that's going to happen. I feel that Mother Earth is going to start stepping in within the next 2 years and just reminding everybody that they're actually on this really big planet, and she's a very powerful woman, and she actually has the final say what goes on here.
Okay, this one is from Greg in 5D, and there's 2 parts to it. Number 1 is when we ascend and we go to 5D, and some of our loved ones that are still in 3D, since we're in 5D and we're going to be multidimensional beings and we can travel, would we be able to come back in some form to be able to assist people in 3D to move over into 5D? So that's 1. And 2, Dolores Cannon, in her book, she talks about that when we make a choice or we move, that another part of us stays to carry out that 3D world. So even though our consciousness might move, there might be a part of us that stays in the 3D to figure out what's going to happen. Okay, there you go.
All right. As far as going into the into 5D, yeah, well, there'll be a number of us who will be coming back to help guide, and because we have a set of responsibilities and obligations. So some won't be coming back, and some of us will be coming back, definitely, just to help in the last stages, because we're not all going through at the same time. There'll be those of us who go through before others do, because we're just simply walking down the path before they are. As far as the split goes, I don't resonate with that. I know that I'm ascending, and I'm not leaving any of myself here on Earth. And I know that Mother Earth is ascending, and she's not leaving any of herself behind. That's why I say that she's going to turn into a being of light, and she'll activate her light body. So as far as that split goes, I really don't resonate with that. What I do know is there's other planetary systems that have taken on that responsibility, as Mother Earth has, by being the way shower and showing the rest of the planetary consciousnesses how to actually go about it. So they will be taken to those planetary systems to continue this drama, but there will not be any life left below, definitely below 5D. I mean, once a planetary light body gets activated, this whole reality will be completely unique because all dimensions are compressing into one space-time continuum here. So it'll be a very unique reality in the universe. So absolutely nothing will be left behind, and that is the level, the layer of vibration that has to go, and that's the one that's holding on the most is the 3D sort of and the 4D levels, and they have to go. So hence I talk about the planetary light body being activated and the eco. If you just look at it from the point of view also of if we are going into a high vibration and Mother Earth is going to ascend into a high vibration, then obviously the ecosystem and this physical reality needs to deconstruct. And that's why I talk about the Earth's crust eventually having to go and this physical environment having to go.
Okay, you said different times. Some people are saying that we're all going to go at the same time, but I actually have seen in a vision where we're going to pass through a belt, a photon belt, and then there's like this opening, and when you move through it, it's almost like moving through Jello for a little period of time, and then once you get to the other side, then you're in the 5D. I've had people email me with different visions that they're having on how they go, which makes me think, are people going in different ways to 5D?
Yeah. I feel there'll be certain experiences that people will have. The one that I know I'm going to be having is basically just merging through an opening in this reality, walking through. I won't feel like a Jello type of experience. Well, I suppose it's one way of looking at it. Not Jello as we currently would perceive it, but just that blending of one reality to another. And so I've had my visions too of facilitating an opening and people walking through, being a bit of a doorman, if you want to put it that way, and ushering people through the opening or the doorways. I like to call it a doorway because it's something people can relate to. But it's an opening into the 5D vibration. And
so you're going to be the 5D greeter.
One of them. There's going to be many. These openings will happen anywhere, all over the world, because this higher level of consciousness is accessible anywhere. It's not just sacred sites, and this new consciousness is available anywhere on the planet. Because if you take into consideration people in hospitals and prisons and army camps and, wherever, there's going to be people ascending in all areas of life. So how are they going to do it? So these openings will just appear anywhere. They'll just slip through.
Okay. The United States is going through something right now, and I want to address this, and I know you have a message, so I think this is the time. We've been seeing on The Simpsons where there's warnings about the dates 6, 9, and 11. We're seeing it in other aspects. I just looked at Benjamin Fulford's weekly update, and he's saying the 9th is going to be a very hazardous day, and the 11th is a significance. First of all, I was wondering, can you explain the 9th, what the scenario is with that, and then the scenario around the 11th, and what kinds of words of wisdom for the people in the United States that you have?
All right. Well, I'd like to start with the people in the United States, and I firstly would like to acknowledge the courage that it's taken to incarnate and be present in that country, because what you are in is the modern-day Atlantis. People are waiting for Atlantis to rise, and it's already risen, and it's in the time of falling, and it is the modern-day Atlantis, and the energies and the attitude was the same as Atlantis was towards the end before its fall. It lost its way, and I just want to acknowledge the people who are there. I may be travelling there soon as well myself. I hope to be. I have no fear around the situation. It does take courage, and I'm very proud of each and every one of you who have chosen to play that role, because in a way, you're really shining the light for humanity as to what you're about to experience and how you're going to go about dealing with that experience. So I want to acknowledge that first of all. As far as the number 9 goes, for me, it represents endings, the closing of a cycle, the ending of a cycle. And where that cycle goes through is the 11 for me represents the 2 pillars of polarity, and that's why the 9/11 energies are really, really important for these cabals, because on one level they have good intentions, some of them, and they want to help guide humanity through these end times into a golden age, but their version of the golden age, they just don't get it, and of what the true golden age is. There will be 1 or 2 here and there within the dark cabal that are of the true light and who are having to play a very dark role at the moment, and will change when the time is right and help help things from within that realm. And so the 9/11 is the ending of the cycle, and we are ending these cycles through the two pillars of polarity. So we're ending this version of duality, these epochs and these eras of coming down from the Godhead, down through all the dimensions of the universe, and spending so much time in these lower domains, which is the third and the fourth dimension, and this dense version of duality. It's all coming to an end now, and we're going home. So that, to me, is what the 9/11 energy represents. I'm sure people have other interpretations of it, but for me, that's what it represents, mostly.
I have heard that we're going to skip the fourth dimension and just go right into the fifth. And that's what my guys
we're already in it. Well, we're already in it. All the people that study the chakras and all the healing modalities, and that's all 4D energy. So we're already in it. And so what we're actually doing is walking between worlds, as a beautiful and brilliant man by the name of Greg Braden put it. We're walking between the worlds. And I constantly, right here as I'm having this conversation with you, I've got my 3D self happening, I've got my 4D self happening, and my 5D and beyond happening. So we're already multidimensionally dimensional in our aspects, and it's understanding that what we choose to get involved in and how we choose to express ourselves will then determine what vibration you are and what dimensional vibration you are operating from and experiencing. So we have them all here right now.
Okay, I have heard that there's a power shift going on right now between the reptilians, draconians, and the power is now shifting to the Pleiadians and Andromedans.
That's part of the galactic drama. The Pleiadians that I've been in contact with know that Mother Earth is about to activate her light body, know that she's about to give birth to a planetary race of universal beings. I know I have the universe inside of me, and I'm sure you do, and we are about to truly be universal beings. So it's about this reality being handed back over on a galactic level to a group of extraterrestrials. That is part of the drama. So it is that is 4D drama. I don't resonate with that personally. If there are a group of extraterrestrials that think that they are going to take control of this reality, then really they just don't know. Either these beings really don't know, or they have good intentions, but they just, like I said, they're coming from a limited paradigm and they don't know, or they're here to deceive. So that's something else to have a look at.
What about the female energies? I know this is something that you're very passionate about, is that the female energies come in and balance for the new paradigm. Can you explain that and the importance of that? Yeah.
First of all, to understand that we have had this incredible journey on this planet and the suppression that the female energy has had to undergo. And that is because this planet is a woman, is an aspect of the divine feminine of the universe, who has chosen to manifest herself as a planet to carry us all in her womb. So in order to control the race in any planetary system, you need to control the expression of the vibration of the being that is that planet. So in this reality, to control humanity, you need to control the feminine. That's the basic principle. So the courage and the strength that it has taken for this being to manifest herself as this planet, knowing full well she was going to be raped and pillaged and murdered and plundered and beaten over millions and millions of years, and especially so intensely in the last 300,000 years, and really, really intensely in the last 6,000 years. I mean, there's a lot of guys talking tough out there, but I tell you what, you want to know strength, you want to know courage, you talk to Mother Earth. And I guarantee even the biggest and the toughest, the moment you connect with her, you will bawl your eyes out. Your ego will melt in a moment, and you will know you have connected with Mother Earth and the Divine Mother. And
Can
they
that
are
be
words
true
of
for the
experience.
women also, that have, through our societies, women also experience the same scenario?
It has been a symbiotic relationship. So every woman walking this earth has that knowing and that experience of that pain within them. As males, we don't have it to the degree that women have. And it's taken me a while to get over my male ego to the point where I can begin to connect with that and feel it and just even begin to understand it.
I had a thought today, an epiphany, that if women quit dating guys that are 3D guys and just focused on the good guys, not the bad guys, leave them alone, they're 3D guy, but if they focused on the 5D guys, women alone could help to implement this shift a lot faster, because if men realize they're no longer cool because they're cheating and beating and doing drugs, they'll switch their ways if they don't have women.
Well, yeah, and it's not cool. I mean, all that stems from fear. It's fear of the feminine. That's why they feel the need to beat a woman, is because they fear her. I mean, any guy that's ever wanted to beat me up, I know it's because he's terrified of me. When you've got a big schoolyard bully that wants to beat on this teeny-weeny little nerd, well, what do you reckon that's about? That's because that huge, massive, muscle-bound guy is absolutely terrified of the true power within that this teeny-weeny little nerd has got. And the same goes with the feminine. Men are terrified of women. You have the power of creation, okay? You hold the space. The female energy is the facilitator. The galactic womb, the Milky Way, that's the Divine Mother, another aspect of her, the nurturing of the mother's milk. We're in her womb. The feminine is space. It is outer space. It is the vacuum. It is the male energy is the active fire energy. That's, you know, the stars and everything, that energy that radiates out. That's more of a masculine energy, talking on the universal level now. You know, the vacuum receives that energy and holds the space for that energy to express itself. So the feminine has the true power. That is the reality. And the male energy is the active energy and the doing energy. So that's the difference between the two. So this reality, this planet, is a woman, and she holds the space, because if this is the melting pot of the universe. It is all life in the universe is represented here. So we have compressed all life. So think of how much strength it has taken to compress all life in the universe into one planetary reality. Imagine how much strength it takes to hold all that energy that's bouncing around in here. So that is the truth. Anybody can say whatever they like, but they don't know what the truth is. And once you get to this greater awareness, you will reconnect with this knowing, and expect to have a box of tissues, by the way, when you do, because I did.
Cry like a baby. That's so cute.
Oh,
okay.
Geez, I tell you what, my male ego just melted, and I'm so much stronger for it. I wouldn't be the man I am today without that experience and that respect, that acknowledgement and that respect.
You're not the first man that I've heard say that. And once that's happened, they've actually become better people and stronger people.
Absolutely. I'm so much a better man than what I was. And, you know, and any of these guys doing the macho thing, you just see through it all. You know exactly where they're coming from. And I was there. And, you know, I used to do it outside because I didn't have it inside. And now that I've got it inside, I don't bother doing it outside.
That's so cool. Okay, here's another one. The New World Order is fighting very hard to keep us distracted and in fear.
Absolutely.
And part of the reason for that is because they're actually trying to wait for Nibiru, which is their ride out of here, but it's not here yet, so they're starting to get desperate.
Oh, no, it's behind the sun, and they're just buying time. And it's all about, it's a battle for our attention. And I actually heard David Icke mention that too. What a man. What courage that guy's got. And really, it's about the battle for our attention. And once they keep you occupied mentally and your awareness contained, they've got you. And that's what it's all about. And so the fear they want to create, because also the fear gets created for lower beings of a lower vibratory paradigm within the dark agenda. Remember I said this federation and this agenda, it's huge. It spans so many vibratory levels, and they've replicated the whole universal structure down here in the lower paradigm. So they've got their own spiritual hierarchy, they've got their own beings of light, and down in the lower vibratory realms at the bottom there, they've got their own really, really dark, heavy beings. And that's what we've got being implemented on the planet. And that's all we're seeing at the moment. And so once you can see beyond that paradigm, you see the false angels, you see these false ascended masters, you see the New Age for what it's about. The vibration tells you everything. And I'm getting emails from people all over the world saying, wow, you know, I never felt right, or I was with the Galactic Federation teachings and all these meditation techniques and what have you, and they never felt right to me. And finally, someone's speaking how they feel. So there's people all over the world that know it and see it the way I see it too. We've broken the barriers. We are outside that paradigm too. And I assure you, for people who are just starting to get into all this airy-fairy, fluffed up love and light business, because the love and light that I speak of is on a very different level to the one that's being promoted on the internet at the moment. So if you think that that's the be-all and end-all and you really don't like what I'm saying, I'm sorry, but the reality is you haven't broken through that paradigm, and one day you will, and you will see it. So continue to go within yourself. And I really recommend people not to be bringing these light energies in from outside of them. I really, really recommend people to bring their own inner light out, and that has to do with wordiness issues, that people will feel uncomfortable doing that. But just getting back to, I know I diverse, but it's an important message there. And just getting back to what you were saying, it's about creating a lot of fear, and because there's lower vibratory beings in that paradigm, who we see as the real dark reptilian and draconian forces, and it actually goes beyond that. If you really want me to get heavy here, it goes into collective hive mind, and they're like a black sludge sort of level of consciousness, and that's what the oil is also on this planet. It's basically it's the prison for consciousnesses of entities, and it's so complicated. But anyway, it's not the blood of the planet Earth, I assure you of that. It has to do with what that substance actually represents. It's got to do with a void and a very dark realm where a lot of awful beings reside, and are being forced into residing too, like a prison, you could say. So that's why we've been forced to be using the technology that we do, because as we burn fossil fuels, it's not fossil fuels, but as we burn crude oil for petrol and for fuel, we're actually releasing entities, and that's why we've had a flood of astral entities onto the planet in the last 100 years. So if people really, really want to know what's going on, it's a very ingenious plan. And so the fear and the chaos that they want to create is to feed that lower paradigm, and also to keep people distracted. And these other beings can then come in that are higher up in that hierarchy and look like our saviours. So it is problem, reaction, solution. And it's not just on a planetary level. You've got to look at problem, reaction, solution on a galactic level.
Okay, you brought up something really important, and I want you to dive into this. We have seen in the last year and a half, where somebody starts out one way and all of a sudden they shift, like their personality completely changes. What do you know? And now you just said if we're burning oil, we're releasing these entities, these dark entities or these astrals. How do you know when somebody's been taken over by an astral, and what could you do to help somebody, or what could you do to ground yourself and protect yourself?
Oh, big questions. The mannerisms of the person tell me, that's what I look for. And they'll get quirky, unusual mannerisms happening. They'll be quite scattered. You'll notice that the flow of their thoughts and their expression can get really quite scattered. So that's one way to observe it. Another way is the demeanour of the person when they're talking to you. You feel the expression and the demeanour of the person change. They're saying words to you that normally a person would say to you and you'll cope quite well, but all of a sudden there's a tonnage of meaning behind it and an innuendo of a very uncomfortable angle that these words are imprinting into your being, and you feel it come inside of you and it gets very uncomfortable. And so that's when that person has got that that sort of entity possessing them. And I see it. I see entities come in and out of people as they're speaking to me. You can be having a conversation with somebody and maybe 2 or 3 words in a 15-minute conversation, that entity will be present, and then it'll come in, it'll get to you through 2 or 3 words, and then it'll recede backwards, and you won't see them again. And for me, I've had that over my life so many times. It's really uncomfortable. They also get manic highs and lows, what we call bipolar, and that's also to do with the density of duality here that's compressing. So it's an expression of that. And they get irrational. Just the basic principles that they talk about, they change. Like if they're heading down a path of being loving and caring and understanding, and then all of a sudden their focus changes and it changes towards finances, or they start focusing in other areas, then you know that there's energy starting to get their tentacles into them.
So how can they protect themselves, or can you, if you see somebody's going through that, do you want to get involved in that, or is that something that they have to fix themselves?
Yeah, the way I've found dealing with that over the years, because I've got friends and family who have that happening, and I still have to see them, of course, and I still want to see them, so I don't let these entities bother me too much about, how they behave. Recently I had that experience. I won't go into any detail of who it was, but this person that I'd seen recently, my goodness, the way this person was expressing themselves was all designed to attack me on so many different subjects throughout the whole time we were together. It was one missile being fired after another, and I just stood there and just basically just smiled the whole time because I know what's going on. So the important thing is not to buy into the drama. So please, whatever you do, don't start calling for Archangel Michael and bring the white light or the violet flame, because you're totally giving your power away the moment you do that. Okay. So the main thing is just to remain centered and know where that person is coming from, know what's happening to that person, because the overwhelming majority of the time the person won't even not realise it's happening to them, and just open your heart from within you and just love the person and love the entity. That to me is the best advice I can give you.
That's great advice. Somebody just asked in the chat room, on the fake UFO landing, is there going to be more than the Nordics, the blonde hair, blue eyes, or is there going to be other kind of beings that might be coming down as well?
I don't have a definitive answer to that, unfortunately. I really would like to. I don't. I feel that there will be I don't think they're going to want to present too many races. I feel it's going to be more one, if not just a few, humanoid races, and that look as close as possible to us, just from the fear factor. I mean, Hollywood's done a great job on our minds and our psyche, so I don't think they're going to want to create any more fear than what they have to, and it's going to be they're going to want to provide solutions to our problems. That's going to be it. And the beings of the true light are not here at the moment. They're back. They've all taken a step back because they know this is graduation time and they don't want to take that away from us. They don't want to get involved. So people are saying, well, hang on a minute, don't they care about us? Well, of course they care. Now we're getting into, we have chosen to incarnate. We have created this situation for ourselves. It's about taking responsibility for the life that you have and all your experiences, and not buying into the drama of the lower perspective of duality where getting upset towards beings because they're not helping us. If they do, they interfere and they take away your experience. So it's understanding that duality from a higher perspective.
Well, also, Alex Collier speaks about this false flag event too, this alien landing. And he said that all you have to do is ask them if they're of the light, and they have to respond. But
no, because they say yes, and they're from the false light, but they're being honest.
Right, exactly. That's what I thought. But they also have reverse speech. So unless you have a tape recorder, you're not going to catch it. So that's not something to rely on.
No, because, how can I put it? The beings of the true light are not going to interfere because they want us to walk through into this, merge through into this higher dimension. They're not here to interfere. There will be some people, and I want to make this point clear, there will be some people who will go home with their galactic family. That is different. There will be some who will do that. And that's an hour's discussion on its own. So I won't get into the detail of that now, but it has to do with how important our genetics are, and it has to do with their soul path. It is not time for them to ascend with us, and they will go back home. That is different. What I'm talking about here is the beings of the false light who are saying that we are children, that we are backwards, that we need mentoring, that we need help, that we are immature as a race, that we are to be welcomed into the galactic community, that they will supply us with higher levels of technology so we can live harmoniously. That is all, for me, the deception. Okay,
and I want to expand on this. I have a couple of visions on this. One is that you and I discussed this too. Anything that the New World Order does right now backfires on them. And I was told that there's instant karma coming to them to hopefully wake them up. But I'm also seeing where I can see like their matrix, and right underneath is the new matrix, the 5D matrix. So they're waiting for these guys to make a move. They'll implode themselves, remove their 3D matrix, and then the 5D is going to rise.
Yeah, well, they've got their 4D as well in between that. So they're imploding the 3D ruling elite empire on this planet, which they created in the first place. And then behind that, they have got when I say they, I might be referring to a different they to what you just did, but I'm referring to the ones who are here to deceive. And they have the 4D matrix, which they want to welcome everybody into. And that's what I'm talking about. And that includes the chakra body. That's a massive area. And it's a big industry on this planet. It is. Let's be real. It's a massive industry. And I was a part of that. And you've got to rise above that. The chakra body is the 4D body. And when I'm talking about the 5D body and beyond, we're talking about a much deeper body of a single energetic center. That's where you're back to oneness and harmony with life. The chakra body is a fragmented state of being. 7 energetic centers, 22 sub-chakras, 53 sub-chakras. I mean, come on, how fragmented is that?
I don't see us going. What I'm actually seeing is that these chakra systems are going to kind of meld together, and it becomes like a crystal. And once that's going to be the igniting of the light body for us. Is that true?
We go via the crystalline structures, yes, but we're not going to a crystalline structure. Now, I've had a conversation with the collective crystalline consciousness, and there are many members within that family who are terrified of the coming changes. That's understanding that crystals are beings, okay? And that's a massive, massive consciousness in this universe, okay? So I urge people, don't take my word for it, talk to them yourself, okay? And like the changes that are happening to Mother Earth, don't take my word for it, talk to Mother Earth yourself and get it from her. So talk to the crystalline beings and ask them, because what we're merging into, what we are becoming as a race, we are going beyond mathematical constructs. Now, that is really hard for people to come to terms with. Beyond mathematical construct. You know, what is mathematics anyway? You know, instead of using words as a language, people use numbers as a language. And it's a quantifiable language. It's a different way of describing things. And so crystalline consciousness is a mathematical construct. It's, you know, obviously you can see that it is by its very nature, by its construct. And so those beings, by their very nature of the personality, of their expression of their being, they are rigid. They are rigid in their character. They are terrified of losing that rigidity, that for them it's their comfort zone. It's, and on one level, they are control freaks because they know exactly what's what and who's who. The reality is so rigid and structured. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Kind of, but what I meant is that our light body is going to be activated when our chakra system becomes one, and it has like a crystalline formation that actually has like a lavender hue to it, and it goes from the top of our head down to our you know where.
Yep.
To the core of us.
Yeah. Well, that's what's going to happen. All our chakras will merge and become one, and we'll operate from one energetic center. But the crystalline structure is purely an interface. We'll be going beyond that as well, because crystalline structure is mathematical. It's a mathematical construct. Okay, so we're going beyond that. Yeah.
All right, let's switch to the chemtrails. We've been sprayed 8 planes at a time, 5 days in a row, all day long. And there is now 428 patents for different cocktails that go back to David Rockefeller. So what is it with the chemtrails? What are they trying to do, other than the obvious virus ones? But what are the other ones for? Do you know?
Yeah, they're experimenting on the way the sun's energy is interacting with the Earth, and the way we interact with the sun. You see, the energy coming into the core of the Earth is coming via the core of the sun, and so does our essence. When you incarnate into a galaxy, you enter through the core of the galaxy, and then your consciousness goes out into the particular star system, and then from the core of that star, it goes into the core of the planet, and then you go and manifest yourself as a being on that planetary surface or within the planet, whatever it is, that journey that you're having. And so that's the way our essence, that's our umbilical cord, okay? So when you go inside of yourself, when I say you go within to get to your greater being, you end up taking a journey to the core of the Earth, through the core of the sun, and out into the universe. That's the path. And so it really, and that's for anybody who's an organic incarnation. I'm not talking about walk-ins, I'm not talking about hybrids, I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about an organic Earth incarnation. That is our structure. And so they've always been trying to interfere with that flow. And that's why all the teachings, religions, New Age, it's all about externalization. It's all about bringing light in from outside of you and giving your power away to something outside of you. Other beings doing it for you, other beings to help you. It's never been about your own internal light. So that's what that's all about. It's about creating a solution, or they're experimenting. You've got to understand how much they're winging it. They're terrified. So most of them are experiments, but that's what they're trying to do, is interfere with that.
That makes sense. Okay, this one is kind of out in left field, okay? Unicorns. Somebody is talking about unicorns and the roles of unicorns, that unicorns are pure spirits, and that when we get to 5D, we'll be able to see unicorns. And right now, they are trying to help us from the 5th dimension, and they're trying to give us knowledge and protect us. Okay, your thoughts?
My thoughts, unicorns are mostly 4D, simply because they use a concept of retrieving information via the mind. It is more telepathy and knowledge, retrieval of knowledge via the mind. That's what the cone on the head represents, to do with the third eye energy. So there are unicorns that exist in the higher realms, but have morphed beyond that construct. So you will see them differently. They won't have that thing sticking out the top of their head. They are different. So the construct of the ones with a cone on their heads coming out, they're the 4D unicorns.
So, but are they trying to help us? Are they benevolent?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, please don't get me wrong. When I talk about 4D beings, there are, there's only a small handful of 4D beings that, and when I say that empire with thousands of ET races, that's only a tiny handful of life. It's a speck in the ocean of life in the 4D, okay, in the fourth dimension. So, yeah, I better make these points clear, because my galactic family in the third and fourth D that I've been in contact with throughout my life, and about a year and a half ago, close to now, had a meeting with them in my lounge room and said, we have to leave, we have to step back because of the false light. We're getting attacked and it's going to get worse, so we have to leave now. And I felt so alone. I bawled my eyes out, and we had this incredible meeting in my lounge room, and we're talking to the Pleiadians, Sirian, Arcturians, and my galactic family, and they all have to pull back. So all these beings out there on the third and fourth dimension, what I say are of the true light, they know what life's about, they know what we're doing here, and they've been trying to help us for a very, very long time. So now they've all had to step back because they are unfortunately able to be attacked because of the dimension that they live in. They are unfortunately vulnerable to these other forces of the false light.
Okay, this is another one kind of out there. I'm really interested in the crystal skulls. Now, I've experienced this myself. I can hold a skull, and I can actually read for it. It has, and it talks to me like a regular person. And I was told that this is through sound keys. And I don't know anything about that. Do you?
Yeah, it's all frequency. The whole universe is made up of vibration. And so the keys to accessing these skulls has to do with a vibration. Now, I've accessed for a short moment one of these skulls. I talked about it in my recent interview before this one about my experience I had with a South American Indian manifesting in front of me in my lounge room, and I knew who that being was, and he was my 4-year-old son and the life that I had in South America. And so he had a crystal skull, and he presented it to me, and I put my hands out, and my hands went through his hands onto the skull, and was able to, in that moment, go back to the life that we had and retrieve a little bit of information from that experience. And it comes down to, I didn't have to sit there humming tones to access anything out of that skull. It was just all in the flow of the moment. So when you come across one of those skulls, and you just know, it'll be a knowing that will come inside of you, and you'll just know to put your hands on it and you will access it. The vibration that you have will be just right. You will have the key in that moment, if you want to put it that way.
And you can activate it. I mean, I've heard them laugh, and they've given me information about people's birthdays to the day, and there was no way that I would know that. And I kind of shocked myself because I didn't know you could read a skull.
Yeah. Amazing, okay, isn't it, what we're capable of?
I'm sorry?
I just said it's amazing what we're capable of.
Yeah, it's true. And nobody gave us a handbook. Thank God you incarnated at this time, George. We need you, baby. Okay.
Oh, mate, you've all got it. You've all got it. I'm just helping you to remember. That's all it is, and you'll know very soon. You'll see.
But you're nudging us, and you're walking us down the path. You're being that greeter that you signed up to be.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about the Mayan calendar, the Aztec calendar, the Hopis. Why are they important? Are they accurate? That kind of stuff.
Look, I'm not an academic, and I haven't sit there reading books and studied these. I was one of the beings that helped create the Mayan calendar. That's what that experience with the crystal skull was all about, and that's how I was able to have the harmonics, the harmonic equations that I have on my website to do with the harmonics of this reality, of this precession of the equinoxes that we are in, this cycle we are in. and that it's coming to an end, and it links in with the DNA, and it just helps people to understand how everything is structured, purely from those who are into the language of maths and harmonics. So it helps those people better understand. So it really comes down to, we have in every culture time cycles and calendars that were created, and teachings in these cultures that wanted to say in the future there was a time coming when the human race was going to achieve greatness, what it originally came here to achieve. It was going to be the outcome of our intention of creating ourselves and being here in the first place. And that time was coming, and they all wanted to let people down, future generations, know when that time was going to be, because they also knew that we were descending into deeper and deeper vibratory levels and further separation, and we would be in very deep amnesia. So, interestingly enough, not just me, but many of us who are incarnated now were those beings that helped create these calendrical systems and time scales in these ancient cultures. So you may have been part of an Egyptian one, for example. I know I was part of the Mayan one. I played a role in Egypt too, but I don't know if I don't have any memory of playing a role in the calendrical system there. But they all point towards now, right now, and it's right down now to the next 2 to 3 years. It's incredible. Even though it won't seem that way on some level, think of it like the pressures building up behind the dam walls or behind the levee. It's building and building and building. And, yeah, it's all about the burst and flow into the public arena. So get ready for that.
Okay, talk about why the reptilians and the draconians are so afraid of us. Because shouldn't they be jumping for joy that we're ascending and graduating? Shouldn't we get a present?
And a gold star. Oh, good. Well, some of them are really proud of us because there are draconians and reptilians who are of our family of the true light. So it's important not to be racist. So let's be real here. The other thing I want people to understand is that you have draconian in you, you have reptilian in you, you have bird tribes in you, mammalians in you, whale beings, lion beings. If you are a universal being and you have the universe within, that means you have every race within you. Okay? So let's just get that point clear, just to help people, get over some of that resentment they have towards the, I would say, conspiratorial programming that is also quite prevalent on the internet at the moment. And so there are a group of our family members that are our unsavoury cousins that everybody likes to disown and really are jealous of us. They despise us. They are insanely jealous of us because they are into greed and power, and they cannot stand the prospect of us becoming more powerful than what they are. And all they've ever wanted to do is control us and put us down and think that we're lowlifes.
Okay, so one of the things that always tears me up is the draconians, well, the reptilians eat us. They feed off of our adrenaline. So if they're eating us... I've personally experienced that. I've been abducted throughout my life. Adrenal secretions, blood, sperm, and even secretions within the brain. And energetic level. Like when I was abducted, I was seeing beings taking out physical substances, and then I was seeing entities turning up, feeding off my fear, and other entities would turn up and feed off. Once they'd taken the substance out of me, they were like piranha or vultures, hoarding all around the substance, just feeding off the energy that the substance actually emits. It was incredible what I was seeing in some of these abductions. And so I really got to understand the structure of what's going on and why they do what they do. So there's many, many things feeding on many different levels all the time. And the ones that eat us physically, like as in the flesh, is so small. I mean, that's only just 1 or 2 groups that do that. It's not the whole. So I just want to point that bit out as well. But they're not going to be going into 5D with us?
Absolutely not. And a lot of them aren't even in 4D. They can't get there. because their vibration is so low and dense.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that because I've never heard you clarify it. Because, you know what, if they're a reptilian and they're a draconian, but they have love and they're for the greatest good, come on, party is at my house. But if they're eating children and causing this havoc, forget it, that they don't get to go.
I will say there may be one or two who in the last moment will realise what they've done and will change. And then, yes, they have the opportunity to ascend. Because the real God does not judge. The universal creator does not judge. It's all about balance. And I've talked about this extensively where people may not be familiar in this discussion that I've had, but I talked about duality and I talked about the balance between dark and light, and that for us to have graduated and become a universal being, that means we have had to have been, and I mean had to have been, the most evil of evil that has ever existed. So you would have to have been that entity. You would have had experience of doing that. And I know people freak out at what I'm saying here, okay? But if you are everything, then you've done everything and you've been everything. Otherwise, you cannot graduate and become a universal creator. And then you've been the most loving of loving being that has ever existed, the most compassionate, caring, and nurturing of being that has ever existed. So we've had the whole spectrum. Like you asked me before, have I lied in this life? Of course I have. Have I had bad intentions in this life? Of course I have. Let's be real. And let's not get all self-righteous and pretentious about life. I'm a realist. You'll get to know me. The more and more you get to know me, you're going to realise just how realistic I am. And am I a loving being? Oh, of course I am. I love my wife dearly. I love my children. I'm a father. Of course I am. And do I have violence in me now? I'd choose not to be a violent being because I know what the consequences of that are. So I'm not a violent person anymore. Do I kill spiders? Some, yes. We've got redbacks here that will kill you. So if you have a redback that's crawling around your bedroom, you're not going to let it go. Do I try to catch them to let them outside? Sometimes. Other times I feel I need to kill it. So it's about understanding this reality, and it's about being realistic and not being, we can get really ideological about life, but it's understanding how to go about life in different levels of reality. And I'm doing my best, so if you want to judge me for that, that's fine. I'm a piece of that.
Nobody's going to judge you.
Please, everyone's, we're all judging. I judge me. Everybody's listening right now is judging me. It's important. I'll say judging in the way that we don't put judgment, but more discerning. Yes, of course, everybody's discerning. Every word that comes out of my mouth, they're discerning. It's healthy to do that. It's important to do that. Do people judge me? Absolutely. I've got friends and family who judge me, and has been painful. So try not to judge these beings too much and understand that they are a part of you. If you have the universe within, then you have these beings inside of you. And as evil as they are, it's understanding they're on their journey. And because I was on the receiving end of their evil, and I was in those ships, and by being there and being on the receiving end of that, which you all have at some stage in your journeys, then you get to understand unconditional love, and you love them for who and what they are.
I just want to interject that the way that we've learned that an element on the stove, when it's red, means it's hot, is because we put our hand there. And we've gotten burned. And that's how we have evolved as spiritual beings. If we never tried anything, if we never expressed ourselves or put ourselves out there, we'd never learn. And we make mistakes, but there's some people out there that know right away that you don't rob a bank because you'll go to jail, but you'll have a really bad life after that, and there's ramifications. And then there's some people that just haven't learned that yet.
That's right.
So, and what I've been shown by my guides is the people that live in their palaces that never try anything, and then they cross over and they go before their panel and they say, I was such a good girl. I didn't do anything. I never tried anything. I never made any mistakes. You get a one-way bus ticket back. Because
and
you've
they're
never
the beings
learned.
who are on the positive. They're the beings who, yeah, exactly. And they're the beings who are stuck on the positive side of things. And they're very passive, and everything's beautiful, and they just don't understand. And they are resentful, actually, believe it or not, as loving as they try to be. They really actually do despise the dark side of things. Because we're talking about duality. We're talking about two different expressions of light, positive and negative, dark and light. You know, we're not talking about the greater light. We're talking about dark and light in duality. So it's different expression. But please understand, they're the self-righteous ones. They get very self-righteous about it.
If we never experienced duality like we are right now, we'd never graduate as fast as we are. So once again, the New World Order, the reptilian, whoever, is actually accelerating our ascension rate because we're growing exponentially on a daily basis.
Exactly, right? Exactly. And once you understand this really intense discussion you and I are having right now, it is so wonderful to be having it, because people, once you grasp these concepts that Mugzzi and myself are sharing with you, you get the drama. And that's when you can rise above it, you can detach from it, and you can see it for what it is. And, you know, then you won't have to go through so much of it yourself. You won't have to be as involved in it. And you won't have to go through these awful experiences that so many other people will, right through to the end, and some won't even wake up.
Okay, I have another philosophy, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. I was shown that if everybody raised their vibration to that unconditional love vibration, and we all started doing it. So it started with, you know, the 10 people that are listening to this show, and then it expanded to 10 people that they talk to. So now we've got 20 people, and then they spend it out. So now if we've got 1,000 people, then it grows 1,000,000 people, and we all carry this love vibration. Wouldn't the draconians, the grays, and the reptilians that are not of that frequency, wouldn't they run from us?
Yeah, and they are. They're in the process of leaving this reality because they cannot stand what we're becoming. They cannot handle the vibration that we are transmitting and emitting. So that process is already happening. And can we accelerate it? Absolutely. We're here. We're in the movie. We're in the drama to a certain degree. We're a part of it. We're not said detached from it. I don't mean disconnected. You'll always be somewhat connected to it. So if you want to do what Mugzzi just said, I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful philosophy, and one way we can go about it is really understanding where that unconditional resides within us. And it is inside of us, and it's in the middle of our chest. It's behind what we call the thymus area. And you go in there and you bring your inner light out, because you are worthy, you are valued, and you are a beautiful, magnificent, infinitely existing being. You are multidimensional infinity. And not just in this universe, you go beyond this universe into infinity. And so really understand how magnificent you are, and you have always been and you always will be. You weren't born from something. You always existed. Your true core essence always existed. So that's another point I want to make. That's what I've discovered in my travels, because there's a philosophy saying that we were born out of a collective God consciousness, and that's not true. We've actually always existed. So go in there, bring your inner light out, and you shine. You shine like the star that you are, and share that love around. Share it with your friends. And what I also do is, and Cynthia and I do this, we talk about our unified love and our unified light, and we bring our hearts out from our deep core of our being, and we say we are one heart, one love, one being. And we radiate this unified love and this unified light all over, all around us, all around the planet, all around with humanity and all the environment and Mother Earth and the universe. But we also send it down our path. You can feel the way your life is heading. And this is a really good one to do. And just send it down that path. Do you know what I'm saying? You get a feel for where you've been and what direction your life is going in. And send it down that path. And what you're doing is you then start removing the obstacles. And you're expressing your sovereignty, because we are here to reclaim our sovereignty that has been stolen from us. So do that. Bring your inner light out and stand strong. And that is the fortitude that I talk about as well. And be proud of who you are without the pride. Be proud because you are magnificent and you are honoured. And if you just had an inkling of how much we are honoured and revered from out there in the universe for having to come here into this reality and put up with what we've had to put up with, oh, you'll be amazed. You're all heroes, every single one of us.
I think we should all make a pact that at night before we go to bed to open up our heart chakra, enlarge that light within us, make it go throughout our whole body, extend it into the room, extend it out to your house, extend it out to your city, extend it out to your county, go to your state, and just keep going till it's all the way around the earth. And if we all did that every night, I think we'd make a big difference.
And also connect it to the core of the earth.
Right.
Okay.
And then I like the idea of the path too.
Yeah, and into the core of the earth. So right through the earth. So not just on the surface of the planet. Go to the core of the earth and just transmit it out everywhere through the universe. It's an amazing experience.
Okay, talk about crop circles. I've heard some people say that they've always been there, but now because we're moving into the fourth density or the fourth dimension that we can now see them. And I've heard people say that they go down.
I would agree with that statement to a certain degree. I would. I have always been here. They've never been as prevalent as they are now. I would say in recent times, say in the last few thousand years. They are really, really prevalent right now.
And I've also been told that the geometric shapes are codes to wake certain people up. Like whatever their star family is, they put down their code, and when people see it, that it will wake them up.
Yeah, it does. And different, like I'll look at a particular pattern or a crop circle, if you want to call it that, and the particular geometric pattern, and it will really, really affect me deeply, but the person next to me won't be affected by it. They'll be affected by another one. And so that's happening as well. Some of it is coded. Some of it is somebody just, on the dark side, just having a bit of a play. But, I wouldn't think negative about everything too often either. That's another trap they want you to fall into. So just look at them, and whichever one grabs you, just enjoy what you get out of it in a positive way, in a caring and nurturing way. That's how I go about it.
I see logos, certain star systems, fleets, their logos. I can pick those out of the crop circles, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, I can't. I've never been able to do that. So kudos to you, because that is really deep. That's awesome.
It just has something to do with who I am, and it's not even like I study it or I get a headache practicing, or, you just look at it and I go, okay, I know that one. And I can kind of tell which star system it belongs to.
Oh, wow. That's brilliant, Mugzzi. Wow.
We'll share that later. Okay, back to you. Pyramids. There's a lot of talk that when the reptilians came down here, that the Earth had a wobble, and that the reptilians had placed these pyramids around the globe, sort of like weights that you would put on your tires to balance them, and that's always a telltale sign. Also, that they were also put in place and dropped down from the fourth dimension, and that's how they brought them in, was through the fourth dimension. And on the top, well, answer those first, and then I'll tell you the top.
All right. The reptilians created the wobble in the first place with the moon, so that I just wanted to point that bit out. The putting them in strategic positions to help create a more sustained wobble. That is fascinating. I've never thought of that one before, and I really like that idea. I know that the pyramids, each pyramid complex represents a particular star system as well, that I do know. I know the ones in Orion, because I was involved with that energetic pattern, has to do with the the energies of the epoch and the eras that took place in Orion, and that what Orion represents is the hunter. It's got to do with male warrior energy and warring energy, and that will have to be anchored here into the Earth plane. So that's also what it means. They also anchor the energies of eras and epochs and energetic patterns of particular star systems and what took place there, because we needed to bring all the energies in from out there down here onto the Earth plane. So it was all part of the equation. Each pyramid structure is part of the equation, not the whole. But the concept of balancing the wobble, maybe reducing its erraticness, and calibrating the wobble to be smoother, wow, that really feels good too. I think that played a big role too, yeah.
The other part of it is the tops of the pyramids can open and a light shines through, which goes right to the Star of Orion, the Orion Belt, and specifically to the Sirian star system. And the other thing that most people don't know about is that the crown on the Statue of Liberty also opens once a year. It's in July. I think it's July 14th. The crown of the Statue of Liberty opens up and a light is shined to the Sirius star system.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. That's brilliant. Okay. Wow. The Syrian connection to the pyramids in Egypt has to do with the winged dragon of Ra, and the winged dragon, being an Orion being, basically finally realised, being probably the best warrior, one of the best warriors that ever existed, realised his wrongdoings and wanted to, because the beings from Sirius, a particular being that we call Ra from Sirius, mentored this being and helped him return to the true light, and has played a role for a very long time in actually bringing life and heading life back towards this oneness and back towards compression and towards the returning of us all back to what we call God or the universe and the higher aspects of our own beings. So leaving that lower paradigm of the universe. So that being played a major role, and that's what the pyramids, why they align to these star systems too, again, has to do with the energies. But with this light that comes out and goes back to the star systems, yeah, I don't know about that. I would have thought that would be somebody, like in the Great Pyramid, there would be a being or an entity that would be laying in the Great sarcophagus or in the Great King's Chamber, because that's where I know from ancient times that we would lie, and the pyramid, all the four corners of the pyramid represents the four elements, and with you sitting, lying in that sarcophagus, you are the fifth element, and you govern all your elements, and therefore you can deconstruct your body, and you can project yourself back to those star systems. So that's why that was never really a burial place. That's what we used to use that chamber for.
I've heard that too. And there are special trips that people take to do exactly that. Okay, on the lighter side, what the heck is a Kundalini? And how do we activate it, and where do I get mine?
You've already got it. Everybody's got the Kundalini happening. I had mine milked, which was incredibly painful. The Kundalini has to do, and I'm going to give you my interpretation of it. A lot of people have their interpretations, just because mine's been milked, and I know why they did it. I had to find all that out. And it's emerald green in colour, and it has to do with a serpent energy, and they feed off that, and it's very painful. And so that Kundalini coming up the spine is the 4D aspect of our being.
So it's not necessarily a good thing, is that what I'm getting?
Well, it's a symbiotic process, and we've gone through, or we're going through the 4D aspects of life at the same time now. I don't focus on it. I don't focus on too much. I just allow things to be. I allow my greater being to just I like to flow in my own river of life and the river of life of everyone around me and everything as well. So I try not to say, oh, I've got to get my kundalini to the pineal gland, then I'm going to be an enlightened being, because that's 4D. That's 4D enlightenment. That's not the greater awareness.
So it's not
sorry
a
to
good
interrupt
thing.
you. No, sorry to interrupt you. That's the old program. You know, when you see the snakes up the column and the wings at the top, and reaching that so-called enlightenment because you've got the kundalini up into the pineal gland. That's the old program. That's 4D. Just want to share that.
Wow, that is great to know. I've never heard anybody say that before. Okay, talk about Adam and Eve. There's a bunch of stories going around about Adam and Eve. What do you know about Adam and Eve?
Okay, to me, Adam and Eve were created by the galactic embodiment of the universal creator, because the universal creator has its embodiments also. It walks amongst the people, it talks with the people. The universal creator does not see itself as above and beyond anybody. And understanding, when I talk about universal creator, is it the creator of all of creation that has ever been? No, we're talking about this universe we're inside of, which is what we call God, okay? What we call God is the creator of this universe. We're inside that being. So I took the journey in 2003, for those who are not aware, not familiar with my messages and what I've shared, and I got to journey up through the dimensions of our universe and see outside this universe, and got to see into what I call the omniverse, because universe means one verse. So out there's all these other creations, what we call universes, and I kind of realised that all those beings are all of us in here, inside this one, and we actually end up going inside each other and learning how to become creators of our different expressions of light. And this universe we're in is in a light-based universe, and all these other universes are different constructs which I cannot perceive from within this universe. So this is the only one that is light. So I wanted to just point that out. Can you just help me with that question again, because I lost my way?
Sorry, I know I'm grilling you. It's like a final. We'll go into this, because not everybody can come down to 3D reality, right?
Yeah. Well, okay, let me put it this way. They are lining up at the door to incarnate on Earth, and they can't get in because you can't just let... We reached critical mass of 7 billion in 1992, okay? And it's been declining ever since. And this reality, because of what we're doing here and who we are, and I can't go into it because it's such a long story. I just recommend people to go to my website and have a look at the information there. But this is God's pet project, okay? So we are about to graduate and become universal beings. The experience here is so intense. Nowhere in the universe does the extremes of polarity and the intensity of the extremes of polarity and the emotional extremes that we experience here, nowhere else does that exist in the universe. So nowhere else does a soul grow faster than coming to Earth. It's the toughest gig in the universe, and we're about to graduate. So not everybody can come in because it'll be an overload, and it's not in the best interest of everyone for too many people to come in. So that's one point I want to make. So the universal embodiment of the human that we are, the construct, was created so we could, and that's where I was created, the Adam and Eve thing was created so all the codes are held in our embodiment, so any race from out there can come and incarnate here on Earth. So when I say that, I don't mean any number can, but any race out there, any being out there can incarnate in this generic form called human, which is hu means God, and man actually means mind. So it's being a godly being of godly mind. And that's what that's all about. And that's what the original Adam and Eve were. They were original male and female embodiments created by, you could say, the galactic embodiments of the universal creator. And they themselves chose with their consciousness to occupy those embodiments. because they go in first. They take responsibility for their creation.
It was the significance of the Eve eating the apple, and then that's why we supposedly have these menstrual cycles, and, is that a bunch of hoopla?
No, it's deep symbolism. It's understanding well, I'm going to give you my interpretation of it. See how you resonate with it, okay? Because for me, this is the original understanding behind the symbolism. It's very deep. The apple represents knowledge, okay? And it's the feminine. She ate from the apple because it's the serpent energy. Okay, how can I put it? It's about the serpent is the representation of knowledge, okay? And the bird represents love. So you've got knowledge and love. And when I talk about love, I mean unconditional love. That's what the bird represents. So the bird tribes and the serpent tribes, they're the two main tribes, okay, embodying the two main aspects of duality, love and knowledge. So Eve eating the apple was Eve taking the greater knowledge. And there's two levels of interpretation to do with that story. One is the God of the Bible not allowing people to become aware. It wants to keep humanity in ignorance, so thou shalt not eat off the tree of knowledge, okay? Now, on a high level, okay, and I know I just said something very controversial there, but the God of the Bible is not what you think, by the way. The true creator, or the true universal creator, or God, whatever you want to call it, needed to create a reality where we would be placed into amnesia, to not have that knowledge. And it needed to be that way so we can then achieve the outcome we need to achieve. And so Eve didn't get seduced by the serpent, because that is also a way of making the female look like she's easily manipulated and is easily seduced and is not very clever and basically a dumb blonde. That's basically the message that is being transmitted there. But it was the strength and the courage that it took of the woman to eat off that apple and understand what was required for life and take that journey and take that responsibility on. So to me, that's what eating of the apple represents.
Wow, that's heavy, because then it also would go into having the knowledge and then recreating, and having, being able to have the baby in your womb and stuff like that.
Exactly. Creating yourself as a galactic womb, as a planetary womb, and running the show, taking responsibility and says, okay, I know what's required. And you've got ancient, got to look at the dinosaurs too. You've got to understand what 500 million years of evolution has done for certain races, okay? 500 million years of evolution. Just think about that. There are dragon races here on this earth that are so one with Mother Earth. They absolutely love and adore her, and they love and adore us. That's another point I want to make. There are good dragons that exist, and you'll know that throughout ancient history. You will see that. But there's also evil dragons. So let's not be racist here. So that's important. That serpent that made that deal with Eve was not an evil thing. It was the coming together of a plan that was going to organize a reality that will see this whole divine plan of creation play itself out. That reality needed to be created. The environment needed to be created for us to come and incarnate into. Otherwise, we would not have this experience, and we would not be able to graduate and become universal beings. So it was a way of, once we plunged down into these lower domains of the universe, and we all dove, we took the dive. We're not fallen, okay? We haven't been seduced into this. We've all chosen to be here. So please understand that concept and take responsibility for your existence here. You haven't been seduced by the devil. That's just a load of nonsense. And what we are all doing here is courageously accepting this journey in, once we plunge down, to come out and graduate through this process of compression from many, many galaxies on the vast universe, compressed everything down into one galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, and then coming down all the way through other epochs and eras in other systems down to Mother Earth, which is the final stage. And when we talk about the Battle of Armageddon, it's been raging for thousands of years. It's 6,000 years this battle's been going for, and we are right now at the very, very end of it.
And could it be said that the serpent, because you know how these guys always twist everything? They flip it, you know, like the star, they flip it upside down, it's a satanic star. Could it be that they did that with the serpent as well? If you flip it, instead of being this scary snake thing, that if you flip it, it could be an eagle or something beautiful, a dove or something.
Okay, let me just feel into what you were saying. The flip side of the serpent is a being who is also in service to us, who is the snake energy. You know, what's snake medicine for the American Indians? It's understanding that it has to do with destiny. It has to do with choosing your journey, taking that journey. It's got to do with courage. It's got to do with intention, and it's got to do with knowledge. It has to do with all of those attributes.
Okay, I got 8 minutes left, so I want to end on this note. A lot of people want to know about the necklace that you wear and the significance.
Okay, the necklace that I'm wearing is called a pounamu. It's New Zealand greenstone. A lot of people call them Maoris, but the pronunciation is Mugzzi. And they, to me, are the greatest warrior race that has ever lived on this planet. They were never, ever defeated by the Europeans. In fact, the Europeans had to sign a peace treaty with them because they could not defeat them in battle. We are talking about an incredible warrior race. Now, the elders I work with at the moment, and they are helping me for my inner warrior because of the work that I'm doing, and it's a very personal thing. So I don't have to wear it to feel it. I like to wear it because it symbolises that relationship that I have with them. And I don't give my power away to it, but that's what, to me, that's the main reason why I like to wear that. And it's also a very sacred stone for the people of New Zealand because it's unique to that country, that type of stone. And it holds a very, very powerful vibration. And what's interesting about them is, and this is commonly known, is they find you. And this stone found me, all right. And if you put one on and you're not meant to wear it, you'll never see it disappear. You'll never know where you've lost it. They just disappear. And everybody who's lost one will tell you that. They don't know where. If you've got like a necklace around your neck, you don't even feel it coming off. It literally disappears. That's
an amazing story. So is it protection? How does it find you? How did you find yours?
I was just walking through the shop, a group of shops, and there was like at least 100 of them sitting there, and this one just energetically, it just leapt out and just grabbed me. It got my attention so hard, so fast, it was ridiculous, out of looking at over 100 of them. So they definitely find you, and once you see them, you know you've got to have it.
That's great. George, oh, sorry.
I don't always wear it. I just wear it at times. It just feels nice. But I like to work with the elders, and I don't have to wear it to work with the elders. We were recently there, and I can speak with them anytime, even here in Australia, and I work with Aboriginal elders and American Indian elders, and I just have a great respect for all Indigenous tribes myself, and they all have great wisdom, and they have their specialty in life, their vocations in life, and some specialise in one area and other tribes will specialise in other areas of life. It's just wonderful how much we can learn from them.
I want to go meet Schumann for the same reason.
Yeah.
Because they just have so much information. So, George, where can people find you? What are you going to be doing next? When's your next video coming out? Yeah,
I'm not sure about a video. Things are in the plans. I've actually in the process of organising a trip to Barcelona. People there are wanting me to head over. Also, hopefully we'll be organising, and that's happening in February. Not just Barcelona, sorry, going to Lisbon as well, I believe, Portugal. and in February, then coming back to Australia and doing an Australian tour, and New Zealand. Yeah, Auckland, New Zealand is included in that. And then in May, I'm hoping to get to Europe. So things are starting to manifest, and we're just in the process of manifesting all of that, creating all of that. And so many people are resonating with the message because, as I've said before, if this is inside everybody, they're going to feel it, and they're feeling it. I'm getting emails from people who are just blown away by how much it resonates deep inside of them. So it's wonderful. It makes my job really easy.
It does, and for me it's so exciting. When do you think the next wave is going to be waking up these sheeple?
Oh, I would have thought something would happen before the end of the year. What exactly, how? I don't have access to that because my higher self is saying, hey, you've got to have a bit of fun in the mystery. There is fun in the mystery. So I'm not above and beyond all of it. I've still got to have some experiences here. My heart and one experience that I did have was Nibiru turning up probably towards the end of anytime after the middle of 2011, the middle of next year, will be open for Nibiru because it's on the other side of the sun. It's parked there and has its own propulsion system, and it'll show up when it needs to. And when it appears in the sky, it'll be roughly about the same size as our moon. It's much larger than our moon, but it'll be much further out, and it'll have a red colour to it. And it'll look pretty much similar to the size of the moon in the sky.
So the reptilians are going to be jumping on it.
Oh, look, when they take people off the Earth, there's a lot of people, and they can't all go to Mars because it doesn't have the infrastructure there. I've been there and I've seen it. So it's only some will go to Mars, and then there'll be others who will be taken to other planetary systems. So they need a large vessel to take as many people as they can. And what I feel is that about roughly half the world's population will go, and about a third of the world's population will ascend. That's what I feel in my heart. It might not be true, it might not be accurate, but that's what my intuition is telling me at this stage. So I don't think there's going to be as many people that will perish. There'll be some that will perish as well, but there won't be as many as what people think.
Well, George, I have to say goodbye to you now. We have 2 minutes left. I just love interviewing you. You're fantastic.
Oh, wow. I just love being interviewed by you too. It's such an honour for me to be here, Mugzzi, and what the service that you provide to humanity is awesome as well. So I thank you for, once again, being the woman that you are and providing, facilitating and holding this space so I as a male can come and do what I needed to do. So thank you very much for your divine self. Thank you.
And your new wife has just agreed to do a special show with me in December so that we can discuss what it's like to be in a relationship with somebody that has such a huge mission, right?
Yeah.
Is she still there?
Yeah.
I just announced it.
Yeah.
She's got to do it.
She's terrified.
It's okay. I'll help her.
I've been urging her for so long because the wisdom that this woman's got is amazing. So, yeah, I think that's just absolutely wonderful.
She would have to have a lot of wisdom to know what you're going through. So we'll look forward to that. That will be right before Christmas.
Yeah, that's George, awesome. I'm so pleased.
Yeah, that will be a lot of fun. Tell her we'll have fun. But I just want to say thank you so much. And if you ever get a chance, come to Facebook because there's so many people that write messages for you.
Oh, that's lovely. I honestly, I've got to tell you, I don't know why, but I'm not supposed to do Facebook. That's it. All I can say is my intuition is saying don't do Facebook. It doesn't make sense on one level, but I've got to follow that.
Absolutely, but you know what? I'll cut, copy, and paste, and I'll send them to you in emails. How's that?
All righty, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
All right, sweetie, you take care of you, and I'll talk to you soon, okay? Thanks.
And love to my human family. Love you all. Thank you.
Love you too. All right, George, take care. Bye, and thank you, everybody, for joining the Ms. Mugzzi Show. I know it was a 2-hour show. Tomorrow night we have Aaron McCollum on and a special show there. He is going to be exposing some red flag events and also wants to get some warnings out. That also is going to be a 2-hour show. I'm not exactly sure what he's going to be talking about yet. I just know he wanted to get on the air. So if you guys could all tune back tomorrow night at the same time, same place, same station, Aaron McCollum will be on. So you guys take care and be safe. Love ya. Bye.